There are many strange things in this world, and not all of them can be explained. Like an entire town disappearing, or the silhouette in the darkness that disappears the moment you look at it. Everything we do, it's real. We test legends of the paranormal in an attempt to prove if our well-known legends are fact or fiction. What is really hiding in the closet? Time to provoke some ghost stories. Nothing paranormal is safe. Welcome to Provoke Me. We are here to investigate the paranormal for a second time. Today we are focusing on a classic legend that has spooked many and scared those that dare attempt to summon her. A true classic legend, well known. The legend of Bloody Mary, a monster in the mirrors. It is believed that Bloody Mary is a paranormal entity that is trapped in the mirrors and can be summoned by chanting her name while facing a mirror in the dark. This one is a very strange legend, and where it truly originated and what it's based on is a mystery, and very intriguing. There are many beliefs about this legend and many encounter stories as well, but there is no real evidence to prove if this legend is real or not. And although many have tried to investigate such a legend, there is still no concrete evidence to prove or disprove her existence. So now it's time to test and investigate this legend ourselves, and either prove or disprove her existence for good. So now, I shall read you the information and details about this legend. Bloody Mary is a legend of a ghost, phantom, or spirit conjured to reveal the future. She is said to appear in a mirror when her name is chanted repeatedly. The Bloody Mary apparition may be benign or malevolent depending on historic variations of the legend. Historically, the divination ritual encouraged young women to walk up a flight of stairs backwards holding a candle and a hand mirror in a darkened house. As they gazed into the mirror, they were supposed to be able to catch a view of their future husband or wife's face. There was, however, a chance that they would see a skull or the face of the Grim Reaper instead, indicating that they will die or be attacked by Bloody Mary, or they were going to die before they would have a chance to marry. In the ritual of today, Bloody Mary allegedly appears to individuals or groups who ritualistically invoke her name in an act of katoptromancy. This is done by repeatedly chanting her name into a mirror placed in a dimly lit or candle-lit room. The name must be uttered 13 times or some other specific number of times. The Bloody Mary apparition allegedly appears as a corpse, witch, or ghost that can be either friendly or evil, and is sometimes seen covered in blood, hence the name Bloody Mary. The law surrounding this ritual states that participants may endure the apparition screaming at them, cursing them, strangling them, stealing their soul, drinking their blood, or scratching their eyes out. So do not try this yourself, as it may be dangerous. Some variations of the ritual call Bloody Mary by a different name, such as Hell Mary and Mary Worth. Those are the most popular examples. The modern legend of Hanako-san in Japan strongly parallels the Bloody Mary legend. There is some debate on the identification of Bloody Mary and if she is based on a real woman. A number of historical figures have been put forward as candidates for Bloody Mary, including Mary I of England, daughter of Henry VIII, and Catherine of Aragon, who had around 300 religious dissenters burned at the stake during her reign, and was known later by the nickname Bloody Mary. Elizabeth Bathory, a 17th century Hungarian countess who allegedly tortured and killed around 650 girls and women bathed in their blood and was accused of vampirism, and Mary Worth, who has been identified as either a woman who killed slaves escaping the American South via the Underground Railroad, or a woman who has been burned at the stake during the witch trials in the early modern period. There are many possibilities about this legend, including possible logical explanations about Bloody Mary, and here are some possible explanations to explain logically what happened. However possible it may be, there is nothing proving if this really is the case or not. Possible phenomenon explanations. Staring into a mirror in a dimly lit room for a prolonged period can cause one to hallucinate. Facial features may appear to melt, distort, disappear, and rotate, while other hallucinatory elements such as animal or strange faces may appear. Giovanni Caputo of the University of Urbino writes that the phenomenon, which they call strange face illusion, is believed to be a consequence of a dissociative identity effect, which causes the brain's facial recognition system to misfire in a currently unidentified way. Other possible explanations for the phenomenon include illusions attributed, at least partially, to perceptual effects of Troxler's fading and possibly self-hypnosis or apophenia. There is no true evidence proving anything about this paranormal entity even existing. However, now Provoke Me will be investigating the legend of Bloody Mary and either prove or disprove Bloody Mary's existence. So let's test and find out if this is a true provoking nightmare or nothing more than a creepy campfire story. Before we move on, let's explain the connection between the paranormal and mirrors. It is a superstitious belief that mirrors are portals for ghost-like entities. Romans even believed that mirrors could trap the paranormal and give bad luck to whoever owns the mirror. It is also believed that if someone were to die in a building, you are to cover all mirrors in that building to avoid that person's soul from getting trapped in a mirror and possibly bringing bad luck to whoever may own that mirror. Some even believe that demons are attracted to homes where a recent tragedy has occurred, and covering mirrors in that home can help prevent the demon from being attracted to the building and getting stuck in the mirror. There is no real proof to either prove or disprove any of these beliefs, but if they are true, then it may endanger many, so do not mess with this kind of stuff. While we searched for information on this legend, we found many encounter stories. Here are some we personally found interesting. This encounter story is called My Bloody Mary Experience. A while back I said I would post my Bloody Mary experience, so there are a lot of versions of this, and I did the version where you stare into the reflection and say Bloody Mary anywhere between 25 to 100 times. I had one candle and my friends were there. I thought about backing out, but they lit the candle and shoved me into the bathroom, and they held the door shut. Some friends I have. Okay, so I was already in the bathroom with a lit candle and it was dark. My friends were outside the door laughing and saying I wouldn't go through with it. I can't turn down a dare, and that sounded like a dare to me, so I took a deep breath, looked at myself in the mirror, and started saying it. I wish I hadn't. About 30 times in, my friends had stopped talking. At about 50, I was freaking out inside, but I wasn't about to show that. At 75, I thought nothing was going to happen, and was about to finish up to 100 and then leave. Instead of getting to 100, my candle went out and I stopped everything altogether. The bathroom was pitch dark except for a tiny silver light under the door, which, by the way, wasn't there when my friends were standing there. That was a mild relief to me. That meant no one was holding the door. My candle was out, it was dark, and I creeped out. So I tried the door. Don't worry because it opened. The only thing that made it as scary as it was for me was that I heard a whisper as I stepped out, but I don't know what was said. Also, I felt a breath on my neck. It might not scare you all, but it certainly scared me. I'm still terrified of that bathroom in general. This is another encounter story with the same name coincidentally. So after reading this subreddit for a while now, I have decided to post about one of my few spooky experiences I've had in my life. As a young child, I was basically the definition of chicken shit. I used to sleep with my lights on, or fall asleep to the sound of a movie blasting out of my television. I guess all of that fear drained out of me during those years because at this point, I'm not exactly the person you would call a coward. But I do have my moments. Now to the story. When I was 7 or 8, I started going to my elementary school's summer recreation program. There I met some of the best people that I know. I met a girl there, we will call her Rebecca, who to this day is still my best friend. We all sat in a small corner of a large gymnasium while she told us about Bloody Mary, the lady in the mirror. She told us the basic story of Bloody Mary, who was a woman who had lost her child, and if you chant her name while standing in front of a mirror in a dark room, she will appear, etc., etc. After her telling us about her, I continued to hear new stories about Bloody Mary from different people throughout that summer. Variations, backstories, and anything to make the story more scary. Being the young naive child that I was, I believed it, all of it. At past midnight I would lay awake in my pitch black bedroom contemplating what I would do if Bloody Mary just happened to slip out of the mirror and into my room. One night I went to bed as usual and tried to sleep, as it was night before my 9th birthday. I kissed my mom and dad goodnight and proceeded to go into my bedroom and fall asleep with the lights like always. I slowly fell asleep. I woke up, the room was pitch black, mom probably closed the light or something, and I looked at the illuminated LED alarm clock on my nightstand, 11:59. Great, I have to wait until 12:10 to go to the bathroom. Even if I did go to the bathroom, I would go in terrified and trying my best to avoid looking into the mirror. I sat there alone in the dark with a full bladder. You know what? This is ridiculous. Tiffany, you're 9 years old right now, and still acting like a 2-year-old. Bloody Mary isn't real. I wanted to get over my fear, I really did, thinking that if I went to the bathroom and did the ritual, nothing would happen, and I wouldn't be scared anymore. I grabbed a large candle from my parents' bedroom, tiptoeing quietly so I wouldn't wake them up. I crept down to the living room and grabbed the lighter from the kitchen. I lit the candle, burning myself on my first try, and walked into the bathroom. I set the candle next to the sink and stared into my lit reflection. Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Nothing happened. I was relieved. I quickly blew out the candle and slipped back into my bed smiling. I laid there staring into the clock. I closed my eyes, but then I realized it was nearly 90 degrees outside in the summer and my bedroom was cold. I was afraid to open my eyes, but I did. In my doorway was a dark figure of a lady. Looking at her made my insides hurt. I wanted to scream, but I was also afraid of waking up my parents. I simply closed my eyes and tried to imagine puppies, flowers, and the celebrations that would take place in the afternoon. I drifted asleep with the feeling that Bloody Mary was still watching. Morning, I woke up and the sunshine from outside blinded my eyes. I looked in the doorway, nothing. I went to the bathroom and dared look in the mirror. There was a cut next to my eyebrow. I changed into my dress for the day, noticing several small scratches on my stomach. I ignored them. After that day, I tried not to think about that night. I never told my friends about what happened and that everything that she said was real. I still read no sleep. I'm not afraid of the dark. I play idiotic games with friends like the Three Kings or the Midnight Game, but not Bloody Mary. Never Bloody Mary. This next story is called The Bloody Mary Game is Real. It's been 12 years since that day, 6 since I last stayed sober for more than 2 days straight. My entire existence has been based around forgetting the events of that day, to the point I couldn't decide if the events were real anymore. But today that I saw her parents, I know it was real, all of it. Fuck me. I wish I could lie to you, like I've been lying to myself all these years. I wish I could say that demons and ghosts and heaven and hell are all concepts made up by man to control the gullible. I wish I could say that there was no paranormal and there was a scientific explanation to everything, that death is the end for us, that it was the eater of all worlds, but that day I saw beyond the veil. But all this is just bullshit. I think the real reason I'm writing this is because I miss her. I miss the girl I had a hand in killing. The courts have just let me free. They wouldn't let me join her, and as fate would have it, I wouldn't be allowed to die as well. I think looking back, it all makes sense. The rope breaking the first time, my roommate walking in before I bled out the second. I know now it's just to be this way. This is my purgatory, and I know now the only way to cross the river Styx before I join her on her birthday. I want to share my story, the events of that day, to whoever has read this far. When I was 8 years old, me and my girlfriend, Sophie, used to hang out all the time. At the time when my entire social group was just guys, she was a breath of fresh air. We were neighbors and were born 2 days apart. Being 2 days older than me, she took the role of the elderly sister. We basically spent our entire childhood together, inseparable at school and at home. We were best friends for life, but then Sophie told me she was moving away. At the time, I didn't even know what it meant, just that we would grow apart, and it sucked. On her last day at our school before the summer break, she announces to the whole class that we were going to play the Bloody Mary game. I, for one, didn't even know what it was, but Sophie was a horror movie fanatic. She pulled me closer and whispered into my ear, "After the break ends and you come to school, if anyone asks about me, just tell them Bloody Mary took her." I agreed. I thought that was the whole prank when I went to her house to hang out for the last time. Most of the family stuff was gone. Her dad was away at work and our moms were talking with each other in our apartment. She comes out of the bathroom, goes into her room, brings out a printed page and hands it to me. In it were the rules of the Bloody Mary game. The rules were: 1. Turn off all the lights in the bathroom. 2. Lock the door. 3. Light one candle. And 4. Spin around 3 times while saying Bloody Mary each time. At the end of the page it was written, "She will appear behind you." I was spooked. I think she saw that. Sophie started laughing. She said something along the lines of, "Oh, come on, you know this is just one of those pranks people play on their friends." I wish it was. To prove that it was fake, Sophie ushered me into the bathroom, turned off the lights and lit the candle. I obliged to her wish and closed my eyes while spinning and saying Bloody Mary. I would open my eyes when she would say, "See, she isn't there, just like I told you." On the third turn, I waited for what felt like an eternity to hear her say, "She isn't there, open your eyes." But she didn't. She grabbed my hand, she was shivering, and I had to open my eyes. In that moment, what I saw, I don't think any therapy or any amount of time can make that scar fade away. In the mirror, she was, or rather, whatever it was, its forehead covered by a red veil, face hollower than physics should allow, eyes sunken and bloodshot, a mouth twisted open wide, teeth jagged, smile demonic. She quietly whispers, "Who asked for me?" I had pissed my pants. That voice wasn't something a human could ever have. Sinister, deep, and malicious. I realized that she wasn't standing behind us, just in the mirror. She was actually behind us as well. I saw the figure lean over me with her long, rotting fingers. She bends over me and asks me if it was the girl who wanted me to summon her. I will never forgive myself for what I did after that. I said it was her. She wanted to prove the game was fake and drag me into it. Just when I thought the smile couldn't get wider, it did. All these years later, I know what that look Sophie gave me then meant. It was the look of being betrayed, her best friend doing it to her. In a split second, the figure pushed Sophie towards the mirror while simultaneously it reached out from the mirror and grabbed her into it. Sophie was gone. I screamed and screamed until my throat gave out. My mum came, rushed in. Couldn't explain to her what I saw. I couldn't look at Sophie's parents in the eyes and tell them what happened. They wouldn't understand anyways. Countless hours of therapy and police investigations later, the general conscious was that it was a kidnapping, and in order to deal with the trauma, my brain had compartmentalized the events of that day into the supernatural. I wish Sophie was kidnapped. That would have been so much better for her than the hell she went through. When I went to school after the summer break, all I could respond to my classmates' inquiry about Sophie was Bloody Mary took her. These stories could be completely real. However, there's no actual evidence to prove if these stories are real or not. They could all be fake, but there's nothing to prove that. These are the tools that are being used in this investigation. We are using 2 cameras, 1 large tripod, 1 small tripod, 1 night vision camera, a K2 meter, smudge sticks, salt for protective purposes, and a towel in case we need to cover the mirror. We will also be using a candle to light up the room with the mirror we are using. We will be using the night vision camera for when we attempt to summon the paranormal entity. The other cameras will be used to both record without night vision and take pictures if needed. The smudge sticks will be used to cleanse the area if needed, and salt will be used in case of emergencies to protect us if we are in any kind of paranormal danger. We will also be using a K2 meter to attempt to pick up traces of ghost activity if we decide to use it. Before we continue, let me tell you what this is. This is a K2 meter, also known as an EMF reader, which stands for electromagnetic field reader, and it detects and measures electromagnetic fields. Certain electronics create EMFs, such as a microwave for example. However, paranormal entities also create EMFs that the EMF reader can detect. To properly use an EMF reader, a base readout is needed, meaning it is necessary to use the EMF reader on the area before interacting with the paranormal. That way, you're able to figure out what really is paranormal and what isn't. This is me testing the EMF reader on a microwave to detect the electromagnetic field that the microwave was emitting, and also prove that the EMF reader was in working order and actually real. The EMF reader has 5 levels to help measure the electromagnetic field accurately. EMF reader level 1 is default, meaning nothing abnormal is happening. Level 2 means there are traces of an EMF nearby. Level 3 means larger traces nearby. Level 4 means there is an abnormality. And level 5 means there is an abnormality as well. It is best to have most electrical appliances off while you use an EMF reader on the paranormal, because some electricals create electromagnetic fields that may mess with your findings. The first and most important thing that I need to do is get a base readout of the place we plan to summon her at. We need to check every room as to make sure we know if there is already any electromagnetic fields, as to make sure what is paranormal and what isn't. After that, we place salt at entrances of the building and keep the rest of the salt close to make sure we can make a salt circle for protection if needed. After that, we place the cameras in position and put the towel close by as to make it easier to cover the mirror fast in case of an emergency. And finally, turn off all the lights, light the candle, keep the EMF reader off but close, and now we are ready to attempt to summon Bloody Mary and possibly prove if she is a real living nightmare or nothing more than a campfire horror story. After much research from our team, we found that there are many ways believed to summon the paranormal entity Bloody Mary, and we will test as many as possible until we get results to either prove or disprove her existence. Before we continue, please remember that this show is handled by professionals, and this can be very dangerous, and you shouldn't do this yourself. You have been warned. After all the research on summoning Bloody Mary, we had found that the two most reoccurring items was a bathroom mirror and a candle, so that is what we will be using while attempting to summon Bloody Mary. As a safety precaution, we will be placing salt in the doorway of the bathroom. It is well believed that the paranormal are more active during the night, so we will be testing and recording during the night, and if we get no results and completely no activity, then we will attempt to summon the entity again, but without any electronics, as to see if the electronics affect the summon attempts. But now it's time to attempt to summon Bloody Mary, and attempt to either prove or disprove the paranormal legend's existence. Our first attempt, we lit the candle and kept the K2 meter close, just in case, and left the camera in the corner of the room, and we attempted to use one of the many supposed summon methods, but we got no results. No paranormal activity, nothing strange happened, and in general nothing happened. We even removed the camera and the K2 meter and still nothing happened. We even patrolled the building with the K2 meter to see if there was anything out of the ordinary, but everything was completely normal and unchanged. During the second day, we found a strange irregularity. The K2 meter was detecting something in the bedroom corner, near a solid wall. I personally don't believe it is related to the summon attempt, but if it is related, then I'm sure it will happen again. On the second night, I attempted more than one type of summon method in an attempt to summon Bloody Mary. However, I got no results. The K2 meter flickered a little, but didn't react nearby the mirror or the candle, so it could have been nothing more than a coincidence. After trying to summon produced no results and no evidence, I attempted the same summon methods but without the electronics. I was alone for the first attempts, but had someone in the other room in case of emergencies. However, it turned out to be unneeded as of this time, as it still produced no results and no evidence. The main problem with this legend is that there are many different methods that are believed to summon this paranormal entity, and nothing proven which summon method works, if any of them actually work. And we will be trying as many of these believed summon methods as possible. Shortly after the failed summon attempts, I believed I heard a knocking sound, and after investigating, the K2 meter started flickering, and because we did a base readout of the building, we can confirm that it was abnormal, but not related to our summon attempts. But we look into investigating this and the area in general as to seek answers. The third night, I tried a few more of the methods believed to summon this entity, but still no activity or results, just a quiet, dark room. And we even tried it without the electronics and without the candle, but still nothing happened. We tried having our researchers look for more info on the legend to see if we were missing something, or if there was part that may have been of some interest or help in some way. The two main things we were looking for were ways to summon and tools needed. We searched for hours, but we only found two things. One suggested you can only summon Bloody Mary during Halloween night, and our other result suggested that you can only summon her with something called the Power of the Living. Now I'll explain what that is now. The Power of the Living is a ritual and is believed to be a way to give the paranormal entities power over those who took part in the ritual. This ritual is actually very famous in the paranormal community simply because it is used to summon a famously feared paranormal entity known as the Midnight Man. The ritual involves putting your birth name and a drop of your blood on a piece of paper and then attempting to summon the paranormal entity. This ritual is not safe, and should not be used by anyone as it is incredibly dangerous, even when done by professionals, so do not attempt this ritual under any circumstances. For the sake of testing all summon methods, we will be trying the Power of the Living method, and if possible, we will attempt to summon her on Halloween if we have the time, but this isn't guaranteed. We will first do a final attempt of the ritual without the Power of the Living ritual. On the first attempt with this, we got no results, and just in general, nothing happened. So once again, tried it without electronics, and still nothing. We went for a second attempt, and we got something. The K2 meter went crazy for a second, and at first, we didn't know what to make of it, but we definitely aren't sure if it's related to the summon attempt, or just a coincidence. But it didn't happen with any of our other attempts, so genuinely we are unsure. Due to having the K2 meter go off, we tried once more to test if it actually was in some way related to the summon attempt, and just as an added measure, we will not be using a candle this time, just in case. On this attempt, we still got nothing. The K2 meter didn't go off this time either, and we waited a little longer than before as well, but still nothing. This is the ritual paper being used. It has my original birth name, and you can see my blood is on the paper, just as the ritual requires. For safety reasons, I'll be blurring my name, but trust me, it's there. Now all that's left is to actually summon Bloody Mary, so we will be attempting the many summon methods with this ritual to see if it changes anything. The first attempt we tried, we didn't get anything. It did feel a little colder than usual, but we don't think it was related due to the recent cold weather at the time. The second attempt, the K2 meter flickered for a second, but apart from that, still nothing. We had given up, we got no results and no activity in general. We have only one other summon method that we haven't tried, and if we are going to prove or disprove this paranormal entity's existence, then we have to try everything possible in an attempt to summon her. Before preparing for quite possibly the last summon attempt, we had our research team attempt to find more info on the legend if possible. This was me and TNC Investigations talking and answering certain questions that may be of interest to this investigation. However, the audio didn't record. Basically, mirrors act as portals, and if you were to face a mirror against a mirror, it is possibly believed that that will then open the portal, allowing any paranormal entities to come through to our dimension of the living. Do not attempt this, however, as it may be dangerous and cause some problems to you, your home, and or your family. Another question that was answered was something called what are ley lines, and basically what ley lines are pathways almost that allow ghosts to go through and collect a lot of energy following this one pathway. Ley lines attract paranormal entities because of how much power they have, and the ghosts are attracted to that much power to absorb their power and continue to move through, getting stronger as they do. We also explained the connection between the paranormal and Halloween. Basically, during Halloween, the wall that separates the dimensions of the afterlife and the realm of the living becomes thin, and ghosts are able to cross over back into our world and cause terror. They use this to steal energy from living people. However, people used to dress as demons themselves to avoid them thinking they were human and taking their energy. Moving on. Before we continued with our summon attempts, I had personally ran into something very strange and definitely related to the paranormal, but not to the actual investigation itself. During the evening, I was talking to a member of the team over Discord. I had needed to use the toilet, so I got up and walked to the bathroom. I had opened the door to the hallway to get to the bathroom, and to clarify, I have weighted doors, so they close by themselves. And they are fairly heavy. I had heard the door close behind me, and I entered the bathroom. After being done, I left the bathroom and saw my weighted door fully open. It was strange, so I walked through the doorway and went to look behind the door in case there was something it was caught on. And the moment I looked behind the door slowly closed itself, as if something held the door open for me. If I'd known that was going to happen, I would have taken my camera and recorded it. We have tried all summon methods besides one. There is a supposed summon method that requires you to attempt to summon Bloody Mary on Halloween night. If we are going to truly prove or disprove the existence of this paranormal entity, then we have to try everything, even if it means we have to put a pause on this investigation until October. We will be putting a pause on this investigation until Halloween night for the final summon attempt. We will see you in a month. It hasn't been a month yet, but I got some interesting readings. I was narrating the encounter stories and heard something. I grabbed my K2 meter, and when I went to investigate, I saw nothing. But as I passed by my bathroom, the K2 meter flickered to 3 right at the doorway. It could be related, but we aren't sure yet. Okay, so I would like to say one thing. I obviously narrate some of the stuff to allow for the video to be better, for everything like that. I narrate what is put down, what we think would be, obviously narrating the events of what happened and stuff. And while narrating an encounter story, I decided for the hell of it to go grab my phone from the other room, and because it was dark, I decided to grab this, an EMF reader, my favorite kind of paranormal tool. And as I walked past this room, I had the thing flicker from this one, flicker to that, then to 2, and then back on 1. It was specifically when I went past the door frame right here, right there, as soon as I get past. So I stopped recording the bathroom, and the moment I did that, it flickered again as I went past here. I don't think it's related to the spirit or entity, but it was a little strange. I'm going to just It's the 31st of October, and it's finally time to test the only other ways to summon the entity Bloody Mary. So now, it truly is the moment of truth, and time to either prove or disprove Bloody Mary's existence. We set up everything once again, and are ready to try to summon Bloody Mary. As an extra measure, we attempted to summon her during the day multiple times. The first attempt, nothing happened. No K2 meter flickering, no sounds, no candle being blown out. The second attempt had no results either. The third attempt, the candle went out, but the K2 meter didn't pick anything up, so most likely nothing but a coincidence. The fourth and final attempt of summoning her during the day also produced no results, and no paranormal activity. leaving only one other possible way to summon Bloody Mary. We have everything set up, and only one other possible way to summon Bloody Mary. The camera is on, the K2 meter is close, the salt and towel are nearby, so it's time to summon. Now before we continue, I must say, I was at a different location for the final summon attempt and was unable to recover the footage as it corrupted. So we will reenact how it happened, and we apologize for the original footage corrupting. It was completely out of our control. As I attempted to summon Bloody Mary, I turned the K2 meter on and kept a hold of it, and chanted her name multiple times while looking into the mirror, but I had no results. I even tried chanting her name 22 times in a row, but still nothing. I got nothing. I even tried to summon her at 3 AM, also known as the Devil's Hour, and that time the K2 meter flickered for half a second, but still nothing. We officially tried all known and or believed ways to summon Bloody Mary, and we have gotten little to no results. What little we found wasn't concrete evidence of this entity's existence, so all that's left is to separate coincidence from evidence.
It's 3 AM. Yes, I'm going to bed. It didn't work.
We haven't had many strange occurrences, but now it's time to find out which are connected to the investigation and which aren't. Whether they are connected or not, we will still include the mysterious occurrences. The K2 meter flickering. The K2 meter flickered at multiple points at random times, even when not attempting to summon Bloody Mary. It seemed weird at the time, but it happened even when not attempting to summon Bloody Mary, proving that this was purely coincidental. The K2 meter finding an EMF in my bedroom. This one was strange to me, as we obviously didn't try to summon her in my bedroom, and this happened during the night, so it was even more alarming. But by morning the K2 meter didn't pick up any EMF. This was very strange, and we have no answers for this, so this one we leave a mystery. The K2 meter reacting to the mirror. This seemed interesting at first, but it only happened once, and when re-attempting the summon method that we got the reaction with, it didn't happen again, so this we just think is a coincidence. The knocking followed by the K2 meter finding an EMF. This one genuinely I have no answers for. I don't even know if it was related to the investigation at all. It just happened and then just gone. This one is also a mystery. The K2 meter going crazy. At one point the K2 meter went crazy during a summon attempt, and the moment I touched the K2 meter it stopped. We were unsure if it truly was related to the summon attempts, and honestly, we still aren't sure. However, it didn't happen during other summon attempts, so we don't believe it's related. The K2 meter reacting to the bathroom doorway. So this one, at the time, felt related to the investigation, and at the time I genuinely believed it was related to the investigation. But due to no results with every one of our other summon methods, we know that it was just purely coincidental. The door held open by nothing. This is by far the strangest thing I ran into during this investigation. It definitely isn't related to the investigation itself, but I don't know what caused it or what it really is related to. It's just a very strange occurrence with no answers. We've done a lot in this investigation, worked a lot and attempted many summon methods, and now it is time to come to a conclusion. We have separated coincidence from mystery. So is Bloody Mary a real provoking nightmare, or just a spooky campfire story? The Bloody Mary investigation is proven fiction. We attempted many ways to summon her, but nothing happened. We even waited a month just to truly attempt all summon methods. We can safely say that Bloody Mary is the second of many to be provoking. We might reopen this investigation in the future, but now it's time to move on to our next investigation, and thank you all those that shared their horror stories to keep this legend alive. A famously haunted and feared location.
I think I just caught a ghost orb.
Many encounters of people being followed home. The unnerving footsteps that follow you, the silhouettes that stalk you from the darkness. How many people have been there, and how many didn't leave? Do you believe in ghosts? Do they believe in you? Is it really haunted? And if it is, what haunts it? Ghosts or demons? Some say that the statues inside move. It was once home to prisoners who no longer want to leave, the most haunted location in Scotland. Inverary Jail.